Detailer's Roadmap Cruise Control, where we navigate the roadways of life, business, and everything in between. Hey, before we get started, this is a quick little supplemental intro to this episode. This episode was originally going to be episode 30, but after talking to Alex about Vyper Fest coming up in about a week and a half from now, we decided to go ahead and release this ahead of schedule. So this will actually be more like episode 20 and a half. So it's episode 30, but we're also doing episode 20 and a half. So we're going to launch this a little earlier than we normally would. So go to vyperfest.com and you can learn more information about that. It is a Wisconsin event, but you may be able to go in, watch it, or just keep tabs on what they've got going on because it's going to be cool. So thanks a lot. Enjoy the episode. Hey guys, it's Kevin Davis from the Cruise Control Podcast. This is episode number 30. I'm here with Alex Ostrihonsky. Learn how to say his name. He is the Director of Brand Partnerships at Vyper Industrial. You may know it as Vyper Chair, but the name of the company is Vyper Industrial. So, hey man, I appreciate you being here and taking the time. I know things are totally crazy, totally busy. So, thanks for taking the time and for spending some time with us.
Absolutely. I'm glad to be on here. Glad to see you again. It's been a minute, so I'm excited for this.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, one of the things I ask every guest basically is I usually say, give me your detailing superhero backstory, but since you're not, you are and aren't involved in the detailing industry, give me kind of just your overall backstory, kind of like how you got into this, what you did before this, what it's like working for Vyper, kind of as much history as you want to give me.
100%. I mean, you say that, but it's actually funny. Is like this all kind of started with detailing, to be honest with you. So my background was in law, corporate 9 to 5. I was good at it, but I hated it. I was miserable. Did not like the corporate environment, the office sitting there all the time, 9 to 5, just not having that stuff. And what actually got me out of it or started this whole thing was ended up moving to a different location with a lot more land. And I had a larger shop in the back. So it was like a 2,400 square foot shop. My buddy dubbed it like Lex Garage. And so right around that time, I started having more free times around the pandemic and stuff. And I wanted to redo the garage. And I was like, you know what? I think the best way to start is let's just start in this corner. Let's do the detailing section. I was like, that's going to be quick, easy, no big deal. That went down just a black hole because then I started getting into all this stuff, not only like the chemicals, but all the setups and all that stuff. And then I found like pressure washer setups and all that stuff. So I started going deep into that stuff, and I started doing stuff on social media because it has like the creative marketing side, but I was never able to use it in law, right? So I started doing that and started kind of forming a name for myself, I guess, unintentionally. And then started working with the RAD company through their Grand Ambassador program and started getting more involved in the community and whatnot. And then with that, with redoing the garage, I was actually detailing my buddy's car, and I was using one of the Harbor Freight chairs. And not joking, I literally had a pebble, and I ended up like going over and twisted my knee. It swelled up. It was called like bursitis or something. So I was out for like 2 weeks, and so my thing was like, there's got to be something better out there. And for anybody that followed Lex Garage, when I was doing that, like my whole thing was trying to do something different. Like even like I would take Matt Moorman's pressure washer setup, and I wasn't a fan of blue, so I'd turn it gray and just do little things and make it a little bit different. And so when I was looking for a chair, I was looking for something that was different, right? And I was looking at nail technician chairs, anything that kind of looked cool. And then I came across Vyper chair, and at the point they had like 300 followers. There was no reviews. The chairs were expensive. I was like, I don't know about that. But then I slowly realized in the next couple of months that, I looked around my shop and like I have 5 crappy chairs and I hate them. I don't use them. And I'm like adding up the cost. I'm like, could have had a Vyper chair by now. So then I finally pulled the trigger and I got it in my hands. And I was like, holy crap, this thing is awesome. The problem is like they're only marketing towards like metal shaping, fabricators, welders, stuff like that. And I was like, no, this has got to go a completely different way. I saw it in the garage, seeing the detailers, all that stuff. Again, going back to detailers because I just learned all this stuff. I really submerged myself in the detailing community with this. And I thought it'd be perfect for it. And then so I got in contact with Dane, who was the owner of Vyper, and we hit it off in the beginning. The first time I ever called him was before I bought the chair. We just connected. I just understood what he was doing. He was super genuine, great guy. And I was like, you know what? And I just built up a little bit of like social presence, I guess. So I was like, you know what? I want to use this to kind of what I was doing before is like promoting other things, but like just on a micro level, right? But like, I think you can relate. Like some of the micro influencers can be super impactful, right?
Mm-hmm.
So once I got it, I started posting about it, and I was like, I think this is it. This is the detailer's chair, and my post like blew up for me at the time. It had like 2,000 likes. It had a whole bunch of comments. And then I remember Dane and Dylan, I guess they're on vacation time. They're like, holy crap, there's some detailer in Florida. And he's like, it's going crazy right now. And then so we just kind of hit it off from there. And I was like, let me just, I'll run your social. Let me just help you out. Once I realized it was just two of them and they had no idea what they're doing. It's like, let me handle the social side of stuff. And ended up like just snowballed from there. I ended up working for them for free for about 4 months because they didn't have any money to pay me, right? And like I saw what this was and where I could go. And I never, I had all the doubt, all the family members, all the friends were like, you're an idiot, you're working for a chair company and you're not getting paid. What are you doing? But I guess for the first time in my life, I saw like the long term of this for something. Usually I'm a short-sighted guy, never plan for the long term, and this was different and went with it, trusted my gut, and that's where I'm at now. And it's been a crazy ride over the last couple of years. But yeah, going back to it, it all started off from detailing, which is comical. And that's how I met you. It's how I met a lot of people all through the detailing community. And honestly, what I think pushed Vyper to the next level initially was getting it to those people. So
Yeah, and that's a. I was going to ask that next. You guys have taken an interesting, and albeit could be expensive way of kind of grassroots guerrilla marketing,
mhm.
right? Like, pretty much all of my friends in welding, detailing, automotive, all of these guys are like, yeah, I talked to Alex, I got this chair. And then you see it on their social, people like Farm Truck and Asian, and you've been involved with Ring Brothers and, all these different people, Ray Ripple and, it's crazy
It
how
is, right?
my network and your network are like have aligned so well, because this was part of our discussion back. We went to lunch in Orlando and you're like, well, I like this guy, and I'm like, oh yeah, well, let me, whatever. I haven't been very instrumental in that for you, but I'm all that to say, what did that process look like, and kind of how did you guys make that decision to kind of like, hey, let's give this chair to this particular person and then see the vision of what that could do for the company?
Well, I mean, what started off and going back, like I think it's cool when you're going through hard times and you think it's for nothing. You're like, why am I doing this? What's the point of this? Whatever. And then it's always cool to have that moment down the road. You're like, okay, that's why that was going on. So going back to like when I was in law and I was like, I was bored out of my mind. Like I was good at what I did, so I was able to do my work and then have like 9 hour day. I'd do my work in 2 hours and just sit around. And so a lot of that time was just spent online, watching videos, scrolling on YouTube, scrolling on Instagram, all that stuff. So like I knew who was impactful. I knew the difference between like, you have the really big influencers, but like there's a different level between influencers and people that can actually influence a purchase, right? It's not just to create content or whatever. So there's different levels of it. So I learned a lot. So when I jumped on here, it was difficult too, because initially, like, again, a lot of people think that their chairs are expensive. We're making boatloads of cash. We're not. Like they're low margins, American made. We don't skip corners. So it's not like that. And then so initially when we were doing this, like as far as a marketing budget, I didn't have any money. All I
Yeah.
had was chairs, and I even had limited ability to send chairs. Like it was like every chair meant so much because it really like affected everything really. So it was tough initially, and so like I really had to pick and choose of like who was gonna help push this brand to the next level. And it wasn't just like their presence, their following. It was like who is genuine like us. I was
Mm-hmm.
looking for like-minded people that were willing to see the product for what it was and want to jump on board and help push it. Same thing that I did, because I mean I jumped on this thing, I got paid nothing, I didn't do that stuff. I just saw what this product was, the impact that it could make in each of these communities, and that's why I wanted it as like a personal thing. It wasn't like I wasn't doing this for money or anything like that. And the coolest thing is because we make such an amazing product, so many people saw it. And like hell yeah, I'd love to take the credit for doing XYZ, but honestly, like the product was instrumental in allowing me to do this and take this approach. And so it was really hand selecting the people that really believed in what we are doing, wanted to help us grow, and also obviously saw the use for it and wanted the product there. And that really helped a ton. And then it was just the other hard part is like we made a chair and then we didn't realize that it could go in 20 different industries. So that's even tougher.
Yep.
Okay, you get 3 chairs, 5 chairs a month to give away. You have 20 industries. You know how hard that is to like try and figure out, like everything's riding on that. Like, okay, if I want to go to tattoo side, like that's big, but like I could be missing something that's way bigger. And it was tough. And so it took a long, long time, but it was kind of like that guerrilla thing of like, getting down and dirty, doing all the work and trying to figure out where it was going to go and who really wanted to align with us and help us grow. And it just worked. And now you see them kind of everywhere. And I think that was the other thing is I never really asked anybody for anything. Like I always presented as like, I'm in here for long-term partnerships. I want to help you. Like these are going to help you. You love the product. You get them there, use them. I don't say like, hey, can you make a post? Can you do this? Can you talk about it? Whatever. I don't want that. Like we sell an expensive product. So I want whatever comes out of that, like organically. If you want to see something cool, that'd be awesome. But just having a glimpse of a chair, like in the corner, like if I watch Street Outlaws and I see a little bit of a little chair in the background, I love that. I'll screenshot it all the time and send it to everybody. That's almost way better to me than having a full on plug, So having that organic approach helped a ton as well. So I think people saw that and just wanted to be part of what we're doing, I guess, on like a genuine level. I think people get tired of the other side of the influencer marketing and all that stuff where it's contracts. And again, I had the legal background and I just didn't want to do that stuff ever again. I feel like when you put a contract in stuff, it makes it less of a friendship, partnership, and it's a business. And then it loses all the fun in it. So
yeah, and I think in the trades and in automotive, especially obviously with Michelle involved in a bunch of welding and mechanicking and all that stuff, I've been around a bunch of all female stuff in the mechanics, welders, fabricators. But I think even in the automotive space, I think what I have found is that for the most part, and tell me if you agree, you're meeting people that like they just happen to have this kind of job, right? Like farm truck and Asian especially Lou. Those are guys that like they work their asses off. They have a really high presence, but at the end of the day, they're just a guy that has a different job than I do. Yep. And happen to have more exposure. But they like Asian has said specifically to me is like, dude, anything that we can do to help you grow and vice versa, right? Like I've been to their shop, we became friends and all that. Like you're the same way. And it's been really interesting because people will think, oh, this is an influencer. Alex sent a $700 chair to them and they're doing this, nothing for the money. They don't believe in it. Well, none of that is true. Right?
Yeah, 100% it's not. And it's funny too, as you say that about Asian, and he said the exact same thing to me, and I probably still have the message. He's like, what can I do to help you? Like then that's the same thing as they don't really ask for stuff. I don't ask for stuff. It's just two people, at the end of the day, two people that just come together and form a partnership and mutual, just like, okay, what can we do for each other? You know what I mean? And not even really say what we're doing for each other. That's the cooler part about it too. It's just kind of like, like if I'm a celebrity and I'm in the garage and it's like, okay, I'm gonna use this chair while I'm filming or whatever. Like there's no like second thought. It's like, it's cool. It's nothing like it. And so I love that you brought that up, that it's not like that. It's not like, hey, we're going to send you this chair. We want X, Y, Z. And it's never been like that. I never want it to be like that. I want complete opposite. I think we started this. I mean, we built this whole thing on partnerships, honestly. And since day one, I mean, literally when I first found Vyper Chair on Instagram, or maybe the second time I came across another video and it said something like made in Wisconsin. And I'm a beer guy. So I was like, are you going to send me some Spotted Cow if I order this? And Spotted Cow is a New Glarus. New Glarus is a brewery up here. Spotted Cow is one of their famous beers. And you can't get it out of Wisconsin. Like you have to come to Wisconsin to get it. They don't sell it across the border. Either you get someone to send it to you, you come up here. That's the only way to get it. And so I said that in a comment. And I think Dane was probably one running. He's like, hell yeah, I'll put some in there. And I was like, done. That's what really sealed the deal for me with Dane initially and why I bought the chair. And like we kind of grew from that jokingly, but now it's kind of like our motto is like we want to be partners with people that we want to have beers with. We don't want to have that business suit and tie. Like you'll never see us in suit and ties or any of that stuff. And it's just not us. We want to be genuine. And like you said, the car people and all those industries, that's what they want as well. We're all just regular people and we want to have a good time together. That's it.
Yeah. And we're all just friends, right? Like our goal is to support our friends. And that's what I found so interesting about being in automotive space, trade space, all of that is that, you can have somebody doing multiple 6 figures, 7 figures, or whatever, and still be able to have the exact same conversation with them that you would have with someone that is kind of the $12 an hour detailer shining cars at a car show. This episode is brought to you by Detailer's Roadmap. Hey, spoiler alert, that's us. We all know you need a kick-ass website in order to be successful with your business. The good news is, at Detailer's Roadmap, kick-ass websites, that's kind of what we do. With the latest performance, designs, and SEO strategies, Detailer's Roadmap is your one-stop shop to be successful on the web. And don't forget, we have the best support team in the industry. Whether you're an existing partner looking to improve your lead generation or you need a brand new website, Detailer's Roadmap is here to help you be successful on the web. So go to detailersroadmap.com/success and get started today. That's detailersroadmap.com/success. And that's kind of what brings everybody together. And that's not just automotive, but that's across the trades. And I think that's a really cool way to look at building a company and building those relationships, especially for someone in your position. I mean, I do some strategic partnerships for Detailer's Roadmap, and I'm going to a training this weekend to talk to a coating company, Onyx Coatings, and I'm going to do a presentation and all that. But and part of that is a strategic reason, right? Like we're looking at Spanish speaking market and what this new company has to offer and all that. But at the end of the day, it's like, I want to go make friends with a bunch of new business people, right? And share my knowledge, share my experience, and have them educate me. And that's what it's all kind of about. I'm curious, because our society has changed a lot, right? Like we're in a situation where buy American made, American manufacturing versus the Walmart, get it as low price as I possibly can. What kind of challenges are you guys facing, and kind of how do you combat that from a company culture standpoint, from a marketing standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, it was really tough initially. I mean, honestly, everything was tough initially. When we did this, everyone like literally, I was on social half the day, just like deleting all the comments that were telling us to fuck off and all that other stuff. Like it was unreal. Like, you guys aren't gonna make it. No one wants these stupid chairs. Blah, blah, blah. Like so it was over and over. But one thing that was initially, like, Dane's like, we really got to push this USA thing. And I was like, I didn't really get it. Like I'm not. I say that apology. I say all that stuff. I'm not interested. Like yeah, I support USA. Yeah, all that stuff at the time. Like I get it. I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but with what was going on in the political environment and all that stuff, like it was a big deal. So we obviously we're really proud of it. Like their dad, Dane and Dylan are brothers. Their dad owned a metal shaping company called Rush Machine and Design, and he basically made the machines that Bailey started off with selling. So they're the big giant yellow machines that tube benders, all that stuff. You're familiar with it. And again, like those are the ones that he basically revolutionized the early chopper era with Jesse James, West Coast Customers, all those guys and all the car shows on TV. They're all using his machines. And his big thing was always American made. So that kind of came over to the brothers when they started doing it, was like, we want to continue this American made, family owned business type deal. And so I took that and continued it on, even though I really didn't understand the strength or the importance that it held. And I would quickly realize within weeks that, like, yeah, people want it because it's American made. So we definitely put that heavy in our marketing, and it helped, explain the cost. People were more willing to pay a little bit more for an American made product because of what it stands for. It stands for that it's going to be a high quality, made to last. Like we wanted to bring back that old school mentality, like in the culture that's moving so immersed in the consumable market. Like if it breaks, I'll buy another one. Like we wanted to bring back that old school American made, you buy this chair, you're gonna have it for the rest of your life. It took a long time to get people to understand that, but now they're starting to get that way. And now you can see it. It's kind of switching a little bit. People are now looking for quality stuff instead of the cheaper stuff with everything that's happened over the last couple of years. So it just worked in our benefit really well right now with the stuff that was going on. So
yeah, it's the difference. It's an educational thing too, especially with generation like my generation, for example. I understand the difference between US steel and Chinesium. That's the old, so you can make those supports out of much cheaper pot metal, pot aluminum, pot steel, whatever. And it's not the same. Like it's, I can take a piece of that stuff and you can break it with a hammer and a vise.
Yep.
When you talk about real solid steel, You're not going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, we could send our chair to China and have an Alibaba version made, and we probably get it for under $100 made. But it's going to be like every other chair that you've had that you've broken, that you get hurt on or whatever. Like there's a reason why it's that cheap. So we have no interest in that. Like we built the whole company's built on quality, and that's kind of where we stand on it. And it's worked out very well for us. So
Yeah, you start looking at the TIG welds and it's
yeah,
even looking at the welds is a whole different ballgame.
that's the coolest thing is like, and I tell the guys, the whole crew, the whole warehouse all the time is like, again, going back to like the product, like I get to do what I do. It makes it a lot easier because of all the work that these guys put into it. The welds are phenomenal. You know how cool it is to go to like Chip Foose's shop,
Yeah.
who like an expert in all this stuff, and like the attention to detail this guy puts in everything, obviously with winning all the Rittlers awards and all the other stuff, and like to be able to take the chair, flip it upside down, look at this weld, and he goes, "Oh my gosh! Like I can't believe you guys are putting this. Like that's awesome." And again, because of the guys of what they're doing, and it's cool. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Always
the
smile
people.
at this stuff.
I mean, because like, dude, you guys would be screwed. Like, you can't
Yeah.
send you can't send a chair that's supposed to be this high quality to a professional TIG welder and and have crappy welds, right? Like,
Yep.
and it's not like you're going back to the warehouse to say, well, this one's going to Ray Ripple. We got to really make sure the welds are great, right? No, they were that way in the beginning. They could ship anything that
Yep.
came off the line.
And that's the coolest thing is that that's the standard across the board is like, we don't do that. Like, hey, this one's going to whatever. Like, it's funny because the guys will just get the sheets printed out there. And it's like, not until they see, like sometimes they'll read who it's going to and like, oh my gosh, I got the packet box for whatever and get all excited. For the most part, it's just, that's our standard of quality. So it's like across the board, no matter what, that's what you're going to get, whether or not you're Chip Foose, Jay Leno, or you're just Joe Schmo, and you're just using this in your garage,
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like, we don't have to do that stuff. Does everybody that we sell to even know to look at that or recognize it? No, I guarantee a lot of people don't even look and they don't even know much about welding. I mean, when I first joined on, like when I got my chair, I thought it was awesome. I did not look at the welds.
Right.
I was not a welder. I don't know what that means. I know nothing about it. I was more so like, when you put it all together, it's like, oh my gosh, the billet aluminum. I knew that stuff, but the welds overlooked. So the fact that we're still putting so much quality and time in doing that rather than like, oh, I'm sure there's robots or something that could do stuff, or just even little spot weld type, all that nasty stuff that you see everywhere. Like would people even really notice? Majority, probably not. But that doesn't change the fact that we have a standard now, and that's what we do on every single chair that goes out.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing that. Unfortunately, I think we see the other direction in detailing. I make a tool belt, obviously, and to be able to show value in that. And then I've got friends just like you, Rupus, and different companies. And there's a couple of companies in our industry that do nothing but knock off other people's companies or intellectual property. And people still buy it, and they buy it in droves. And I'm like, why are you supporting these other people and these other shops? I could go on a soapbox about that, which I have in multiple times. But it's
unknown. Maybe that's what at least I hope. Maybe they're just not sure about it. But yeah, it's part of our nature though, and at the same time, they're still appealing. There's a reason they're doing it is because there's people that want that. Like there's so many people that want us to sell our chair to China so that they can make it. So there's so many people that want a Chinese version of our chair. They're okay with the lower quality and lower price, and it's like, so there's people out there. There's market for everything. So it is what it is. I guess you can't stop it. So
yeah. Well, I had to laugh the other day. I'm shooting this. I do these time lapses of my shop build. Right. I'm doing electrical.
I love watching that stuff. Yep.
Right now, and I know you watch it. And so the other day, I have one of those cheap Harbor Freight stools. Just full disclosure, that I've had. I've had forever, but I had set my laser level on it because it was at the perfect height for setting for setting that laser line. And I thought, oh crap, if Alex sees this, I'm going to be in big trouble for using this stool in my shop.
All right, well, we're as soon as we get off this, we're replacing that. So we'll take care of it. Done.
So I just thought it was funny that you have, just your presence in the industry. Vyper, I've been following Vyper forever, so I see your ads, obviously, and I think it's funny along those lines that you should have the word reenacted from Alex on that one ad where the guy busts, where I think probably Dane or somebody is the one that falls over.
Oh
Maybe
yeah,
it's you.
yeah.
So,
I
because,
went to
you know,
film that
it should say, you know, official reenactment, but I think I love that little spot in there. But yeah, it's funny that you've ingrained in me how important that is. And like, you're, you know, just all that to say your marketing is working in
awesome.
terms of
The
like
whole team. Yeah, it's awesome.
having me see the difference and be like, oh crap, I gotta reshoot that or hide that or
I love it. Yeah, we'll get that stuff so I don't have to think about it anymore. We'll get that taken care of.
or I gotta speed that up. But yeah, so tell me, I know you guys got some new exciting stuff that you're doing, and kind of a unique event for a chair company, right? For you know, tell me about that. Tell me, Chris made me aware of that not too long ago. We were talking about it, but yeah, tell me about what's it called?
Well, yeah, so we went from chairs, then we started doing creepers and fans, and basically anything that sucked in the shop, we want to make a better version of a Vyper version. So we have those products, and we have a bunch more coming out. And then so we started this year as just Vyper Industrial, and then June we launched Vyper Energy, and then September we're having Vyper Fest. So it was like 3 separate businesses this year, which is insanely hectic. And I love everybody here that's been putting up with us and like going through all the hard work. It's extremely appreciated, and like it's hard, but we're learning so much so quickly through it that it applies everywhere, and it's awesome. But yeah, we decided to hold an event here in Green Bay because we're doing some pretty big stuff, honestly. Like we're working with some pretty big celebrities, influencers, all that stuff. And what always was weird is like I'm in Orlando, Florida. I'm the only guy that doesn't work up here. We're all based out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. Every time I'd fly up here, I would take an Uber over here. They drop me off, and they're like, "Oh, Vyper, what's that? I've never heard of Vyper." I'm like, you know. And as the time went on, it's like I don't understand. And then I realized that like Dan and Dylan. I mean, not this last Christmas party, but the Christmas party for that, we had about 5 employees. That was it, all together with Jay and Dylan. This last Christmas party, we had about 35. We've added another like 10 or so since then. So the growth is really big. But back then, Danny and Dylan were so like head down. We need to sell a chair to a day. You know, that's all they cared about. And while I was going to bought a truck and went door to door, event, cars and coffee, shop to shop to build it down there, it wasn't doing anything up here, right? It helped me down there. There's a bunch of good stuff down there, but nothing happened up here. And then so we're like, you know what? Let's let people know that we're here. You know, we'll go to a car show and they're like, oh, I've heard of you, but I had no idea you're in Green Bay. And it's like, Green Bay's small. Yeah, we're the Packers, but there's nothing else here. Like literally you can get everything within 15 minutes. There's not much that goes on up here ever. And so we're like, you know, let's do something to let people know that we're here. So we're like, let's do an annual event. And then I hope each year it gets bigger and bigger. And then maybe one day we were not even going to be big. It'll be so big we can't have it at our warehouse anymore, right? So that was the goal. We're going to do like a small little cookout. And we're like, you know what, let's do a car show too, because we're car people, right? Maybe get a local band to play it there too, and it'll be fun. And then it just kept snowballing. Oh, like, okay, there's people here. They're going to get thirsty. We should have a beer truck, you know? And then it's like, oh, well, the band, I mean, it's a local band. They probably heard that before. Let's get another band. Let's get an international act. And then it's like, it just kept going like, oh, we like detailing and welding. Let's have a detailing and welding class. Like it just kept going on and on. And now it's this huge event all day. And we definitely, I don't know how we're able to get it to where we're at in the last like 35 days or so. And it's next Saturday. It's just gonna be phenomenal. So like the goal is like, it starts at 10 in the morning, September 30th. It starts off with a car show because, again, we're car people. We're really big enthusiasts in it. That's kind of what started this whole thing. We want to make it like exclusive car show. So we're having like really cool cars. You have to like submit your car to get approved because we'll make sure it's, you know, not just all Ferraris, but we want to make sure it's not. We want people to see it, get experience. In Green Bay, there's not many car shows like this. So they come and have the car show. And then at the same time, we're having detailing and welding classes, like private little classes, just kind of go over from start to finish how to do things with some of the influencers and partners that we work with, like Lincoln Electric's coming on. And I think you guys are big Lincoln fans.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, just make sure you're. Okay.
Yeah, Lon is Lon involved in that?
No, we're working with Padraic,
Okay.
and then some Bobs over here in the Wisconsin area.
Oh, okay, cool.
And then we'll have like Jason Becker from Art Junkies and Dabs Wellington are coming out and doing the class. So really cool event. You know, what we're trying to do is like what we like the partners we were with, trying to bring everyone together to something that never really ever happened in Green Bay. And then so after the classes and the show's over, we're like, we like doing burnouts. So let's do a burnout pit. And we're not talking like a little like just standing burnout pit. We have blocks coming in. I think Dylan said he's got 70 of those big parking blocks. We basically, it's a whole parking lot.
Oh, wow.
And so it's going to be like a 2 hour burnout fest. We'll come back to this, but we have a competition that we just started the other day, which is hilarious and wild. But then after that, then we have, once the burnout pit's over, we have a local band called Smoke Road that'll be performing. And then we actually, again, snowballed. We have our last night performing as like the headline, which if you haven't heard of them, they're like the best cover band ever, and they do original songs as well, but they're known for a lot of that stuff. They're really big on social, do a lot of cool stuff, kind of like a heavy metal twist on stuff. So we have them coming out here for the headline. And so it's even like, it's exhausting to say all the stuff that we're doing in one day. So we're really excited though. And it's doing exactly what we want to do. People are talking about us, people are knowing about us. And it's awesome. And I can't wait to get this going and see where it goes from there. So.
Yeah, that's again, and I'll ask this more pointedly in a minute, but it's interesting to create an event that incorporates, a good portion of your customer base, right? Like it's all about customers. At the end of the day, you're here to sell chairs and to do something altruistic and cool for the local market and the car people and all that. There's an event that I've been involved in the past, which is actually Nicole McGuire, who passed away, Barry's daughter, called Benedict Castle, and it's in Southern California in Riverside, and they do something very similar in terms of how they pick the cars. And you have this little group of Japanese imports and this group of 1920s and this group of high performance supercars and hot rods and all that stuff. So that's really cool to be deliberate like that, especially for a first year event, to not just say, hey, we need cars, we need people to fill these spots.
Yeah, there's definitely a fear for that, but for whatever reason, it's working. I mean, we also have the benefit of going back again to partnerships. We have amazing partners. So, like when you come to the car show, when you get an award, you're not getting a trophy. Like you get a trophy, whatever. Everyone gets a trophy, but like that's not it. Like we don't want to just make it like that. We're like, no one else does this stuff. Let's get crazy with it. Let's give away some chairs. So we got some chairs given away, but like, nah, that's not enough. We start talking to partners. They're like, well, we talk to Rotiform and Fuel Off Further, like, just give away a set of wheels to the winner.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So it's like first place winner of the car show. You get a bunch of Vyper chairs. You get to pick either a set of Fuel or Rotiform or any other wheels that fall basically under the Wheel Pros brand, even like Foose Design and stuff like that. Set of wheels. And then same with the Burnout Pit. And then they're giving away a set to the Burnout Pit winner as well. And I'm like, we need some tires too. And it's like, okay, we work with XYZ. So Track Day Direct is going to give a set of tires to the winner and stuff. So it's like, it's cool. It's like we're not only we put on a cool show and bringing all the people together, but like the people that really want to get involved with it, like we're making really cool prizes so that when you do this stuff, there's benefits as well. Like detailing class, they're giving away, like we talked with AR, they're like, we'd love to give away a pressure washer. I'm like, okay. Cause again, we're not the people that we never asked for anything. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's really cool to kind of have it a little bit reversed as like, we just talk to people, hey, do you want to get involved? It's just like sponsor and stuff like that. And then they're just like, what can we do to help? We're down to do anything. And I'm like, I didn't even think about all these things. This is awesome. Like the support was overwhelming, and it was a cool reflection moment to look at and like, look at all the cool companies and people that we work with that, again, we're like going back to what Asian said, like, what can we do to help you? And it's like for a first year event, starting this August 1st, it's mind blowing that this is all, it looks like this was pre-planned for months and months and months, and it wasn't. And my whole team will attest to that. Very detailed, but it's crazy to see what it all came together, and it's awesome. And again, going back to the partnerships and just good people. So
that's awesome. So if we scale that back, one of the things we want to do is trying to educate kind of small businesses with that. If we scale that back, one of the things we recommend is, hey, be involved in Cars and Coffee, be involved in local car shows. What kind of advice? And, if you think, all right, well, this is this huge event in Green Bay, right? Like it's a big ass event, and you scale that back to like your local detail shop trying to do this at a Cars and Coffee or a small events level, what guidance would you give to kind of walk down that process?
I mean, honestly, the same thing that that I still hold true and is really important to me is like be present. You go to the local car events, you go to local car shows, the people that are in that community know who's there. So if you have a business and you're the like, it's not just setting up a booth, right? You don't have to set up a booth. You don't do that stuff. Really, it's just being involved in the community, being present. Like you get the Vyper shirt, Vyper hat. You're walking around, you're meeting people, you're talking to them. And again, you're not going there just to sell people. You're going there to talk with people, make friends, make connections. And every time I go to these drift events or whatnot, like you know who's there. You can say like, oh, well, there's a drift event here. Like you know what companies are going to come automatically. So if you can be that company, especially in a local community, it's extremely not I won't say extremely easy, but very easy to do in the sense of like make some time for it, right? So
Right.
if you're that local detailer and you start going to all the cars and coffees and you're making your presence known, whether it is setting up a booth or just go around talking to people, even being the guy, you know what, I'm gonna bring the donuts every week. No one asked me, but I'm gonna bring the donuts every week. Like, you know, that is such the ROI on bringing donuts to a local cars and coffee is massive. Like
Hmm.
I would be my detailer from now on. You know what I mean? So being present at all the events and making time for those events is absolutely huge because the people that you those customers that you want, the true enthusiasts, those are the ones that are there and those are the ones that know who comes to these things because you're supporting those events. And if you're
Hmm.
supporting those events, it says a lot about you, your business, your character, all that stuff. You
Yeah,
can't
because
just
even
fake it, you know?
oh, absolutely, that authenticity, and even if like your local, let's say the guy that owns a '67 Corvette, he's like, I don't let anybody else touch this car. I'm never bringing it to you. However, I have my wife's Escalade needs this, or my friend, my neighbors, and all that. So it's that presence, like you're talking about, and I was listening to Grant Cardone. It's Grant Cardone is Mr. Marketing, 10x
Mhm.
everything, but he was talking about omnipresence. His goal for his company is to get all 7 billion people on the planet to know his name. Right? Like he's like, will it happen? Probably not. But
I
that's that.
try.
Yeah, but he's trying, and that omnipresence can work down to the micro level within your own. If you're in a big city, pick the small areas of your big city, whatever your market is. If it's in a small area, small town, easier even probably to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Start with what's small and known and just expand from there. And you'd be surprised how much of an impact it can have. Again, be genuine, you know, like, and you're working with other enthusiasts, like, people want that, you know, and they can tell who's there just to like spread their name, putting like cards in people's windows and they, like to go to an event, just stick stuff in people's windows
Yeah,
versus going to an event, going around talking to people and supporting it of some sorts. Like the difference is night and day.
yeah.
I think a lot of people miss that. And it could be just, you know, I only have so many hours in my day or whatever. But like, I think if you understand the importance of that, then you make sure that you put that amount of time aside to be part of those events. And it's massive.
Because that's what you did. You said and maybe you can tell a little bit more about what you did, getting your truck and going door to door.
Hell
What did
yeah,
that
dude.
kind of look like?
Yeah, man. And again, I wasn't even making any money back then, like none. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to these shops though, and like all these, and like at the time I had like a farm truck type deal, like not a cool farm truck, but like you know, kind of like a beat up one because we moved out the country and it was
Yeah.
just kind of like free type deal. And I'm like, aesthetics is important to me, and I was like, I don't know if I want to be pulling up, selling these expensive or showing off these expensive shares in this. So I was like, made a dumb decision. I was like, I'm gonna buy a Raptor. Can't afford it. Way too expensive. It was $1,000 a month. Like an idiot. And again, making no money. But there was a reason behind it. And then so basically, what I did was, you know, again, I barely had any chairs from Dane and Dylan because they didn't have the ability to do that. Like, not only giving me those chairs was expensive, but like shipping them to me was expensive. So
Yeah.
like it was a big deal. When they sent me a big pallet of stuff, it was a big deal. Anyways, I put them all together, put them back in my truck, and literally drove event to shop to shop. Nothing was too big, nothing was too small. I didn't care if you were a one detailer shop versus one of the best in the area. Same with the car guys, any of that stuff. And same thing with cars and coffees. I was going to every little local cars and coffee around. Like every Saturday is a cars and coffee. Every Sunday there's a car and coffee somewhere within my vicinity. I kept going over and over. Did I set up booths at each time? No. I just walked around and seeing the shops. I would just literally pull up the shops and just start talking to them. And honestly, some of my favorite partners are the ones that I did that for, like Attack on the Clock Racing. Me and Sean and his wife Jamie are like uh, really close friends now with that.
Oh,
And it
nice.
all started with just stopping by. Like they just built a new shop. I stopped by, started talking with them, and it's just snowballed into that. So like just going to those little things and doing that was huge. And I guess I took the kind of like a Grant Cardone standpoint is like they're gonna know about me. You know,
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure of it because I'm gonna go to every single event. Whether or not you want to buy my chair, you want to make, dude, people that made fun of me, told me I was stupid when I told them the price and all this other stuff. Like I everyone, I don't know why I didn't quit. To be completely honest with you, the amount of stuff that I got, like it was. I'd even go like we'd go hang out with a bunch of car friends. Like I'd go all the way to Tampa, meet these guys, a bunch of cars and whatnot, to bring some chairs over the shop, and like they were making fun of me, and I'm like, at one point I was like, dang man, am I just? My family's making fun, my friends are making fun of me. Like, what am I doing here? But just kept pushing it, and I just wanted to make sure that I was present. I was gonna find that one person that wanted a chair, and we are such a small, focused kind of like focus is like we just gotta sell one chair, and then one chair, and then one chair, and that's all it took. And so if I went to a Cars and Coffee and I just got to talk to one person that was actually interested in our products, one person that's going to talk about our products, and they'll go to the next one, get one more, and it just snowballed into that. Now we base a lot of it. Yeah, we have ads and stuff, but I think a majority of our stuff, like we have post-purchase surveys, a lot of it's word of mouth and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so that says a lot. And same going back to the partners is like, those are the ones, if you have people saying like of that stature talking about our products, it means a lot. So you never know who's going to be at these car shows. You know how many times that I had no idea who I was talking to, and it ended up being like a really influential person in the community. It's insane. It's just like, even like TOC Supplies out of Canada. They're a new detailing distributor
Supplier.
or whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Owen is the owner, and he just reached out to me on like, he has a tiny little account on social media, and reached out and said, hey, do you want to talk about distribution of Vyper? And I was like, oh, here you go. I don't know. Like, is this going to be worth anything? Or just some random conversation again? But I was always in that mentality of like, you take every call, you take every email, which is probably why it's so overwhelming and I can't keep up anymore. But that turned out to be like, they're like the largest importer, exporter of Canadian American goods and stuff like that. And like, if you're not taking the time to talk with everybody and go to all these local events, you're never going to, you might get there, but it's going to take a lot longer. Like, just sit there and talk to people, and it works. I don't know how else to explain it. It just works. You take the time and it works.
Yeah. So from a detailing standpoint, obviously you're not there to sell chairs, but you're there to sell your services. You're there to sell coatings and PPF and all of these services. So not only going to the Cars and Coffee and the show, but going to friggin' Rotary Club and Chamber of Commerce meetings and going to meet with people like realtors are great, because realtors need their vehicles to look awesome. That's part of that. So look at all of these different customer bases. But, to your point, you weren't like, well, I want to go talk to this shop. I want to go talk to this shop, very like in a prestige way. It's like, I want to go talk to every shop. And if I talk to this, and this, right?
I didn't have access to it, right? Like, that would have been awesome. But like, I didn't have that. So you got to start somewhere. And if you don't start, you're never going to start. As easy as that. So you got to go with, you can't have that mentality like, I'm too good or I want this or whatever. Like, you got to earn it. Like, and like, we get to do some pretty cool stuff, but we earned it. You know what I mean? Yeah. We put the hard work and we did all the hustle and stuff. And that's how we got to do that. I didn't just go knock on Chip Foose's door and say, hey, you want some chairs? Like, this just isn't how it worked. So it's a culmination, and it's cool to look back, like just step after step after step. And just like you said, going to those little things and, going to the realtors is like, yeah. And there's also like, you're talking to someone at a car show, you're a detailer, you're talking to someone at a car show, and they might not ever want you to touch their car, but oh, you do PPF? Well, I have like 6 friends that I've been looking for someone that does PPF. And then there's 6 new clients. And because you just stop to talk to one person. Yeah. And I know it sounds so simple, and I'm sure a lot of people are listening like, well, I talked to 50 people and I don't get any of them. But you're going to get one. You just keep doing it. It's just consistency. So definitely encourage that a lot.
Yeah, I like the grassroots idea, because it's easy to think, oh, well, the brothers, Dane and, I'm sorry, what's Dane's brother's name?
Dane and Dylan.
So Dane and Dylan, they have this dad that was in this automotive industry and the welding industry. He must have all these contacts. So then I just get out his, well, we would call it Rolodex back in the day, right?
Old guy here, right? And
You'll have to Google for what a Rolodex is, but basically think of your contacts list in your phone. But like, that's not the case. Like, this is a grassroots built company that these guys had to build from the ground up. Like, it's not like they had this, $10 million piggy bank to be able to build 4,000 chairs
Oh,
and, all of that. Right.
no, I mean, Dane tells a good story. A couple different platforms is like he was fresh out of college, had no money. He was living like he's like, okay, I have $800 for the next 3 months. How do I make this work? That's how he launched the company. And so like every single chair, everything he did, he did it himself to save money. I think the biggest purchase Viper made, like long into it, was the current shop chuck that's rusted. Just it was like $2,000, and they're like, holy shit, seeing that come out of the bank account, like we didn't know, and like every sale meant so much to him because he's like, okay, I sold, all I gotta do, rent's this much. If I sell 4 chairs, then I can have rent and I can eat this month. And that was his mentality, and just that's where it started from. And yeah, of course, his dad had connections and stuff. We never used any of them. We took pride in the fact that like we didn't go and say, hey, can you get us Rich Rawlings because or works with Jesse James or something like that. We didn't want to do that.
This episode is brought to you by Detailer's Roadmap. Hey, spoiler alert, that's us. We all know you need a kick-ass website in order to be successful with your business. The good news is at Detailer's Roadmap, kick-ass websites, that's kind of what we do. With the latest performance, designs, and SEO strategies, Detailer's Roadmap is your one-stop shop to be successful on the web. And don't forget, we have the best support team in the industry. Whether you're an existing partner looking to improve your lead generation or you need a brand new website, Detailer's Roadmap is here to help you be successful on the web. So go to detailersroadmap.com/success and get started today. That's detailersroadmap.com/SUCCESS.
I think that took away the natural, organic, like that just wasn't us. Like, I don't know, we want to put the work in because then you earn it and it means more. So there's still people that like I know his dad knows, and I want to work with them, and I know he's like, hey, look, can you get me in touch with that? But we don't want to. And same thing, it's kind of cool now if we're working with it. It could just be like, hey, I know like everyone's one person apart. I could just say, hey, I want to work with that. I don't like that though. I like the more of the challenge aspect of it, and also making it more organic. And I rather like if I am going to get connected from A to Z, like I would rather them do it together. Like, oh, I love this, so here, connect with them. I don't like asking for stuff like that because it takes away the natural element of it. So yeah, that sums it up for the most part. But yeah, we didn't have the help, and it was humble beginnings to say the least. And again, like I was working for free because he couldn't pay me, and Dane felt bad all the time. He's like, I can't even afford to like do anything. I can't afford employees. Like he's like, shoot, if you're gonna help me, I'd love it, and yeah, it's funny how looking back how that kind of worked out.
Yeah, I mean, and it's those organic relationships are so much more genuine, right? Like even my friendship with Asian started because we needed a car in the booth at G-Technic. I reached out, a friend of mine,
I reached out to
a friend of mine that said, hey, I've got this vehicle, this guy named Chuck, who is up in this area. He's looking for a home for this car. Like he needs a home for Asian's car from Street Outlaws. Like none of that came up front. Right. So we ended up getting Asian's car in the booth, which Asian's car, Chevy 2, has one of the greatest car stories. It's what makes 100%. car stories. Real quick, he basically,
for sure,
yeah. I mean, so if you don't know this story, look up Chevy 2. But he basically bought a car, started restoring it with his dad. His dad passed away. He had to sell the car. Farm truck found the car later. Had the engine built. Basically, turned into an amazing drag car. So he started and drove that car the first time on Friday afternoon, driving out of SEMA. And I'm like choking up right now because literally
I got goosebumps for sure.
Yeah. I mean, dude, he's crying. He's got his sunglasses on. He's crying, driving it. There's like 4 guys all around us. Michelle and I are walking out with him. We're crying the whole time. Like it was like one of the most special special experiences from a car standpoint. And I can't believe, like, literally we're talking about cars, but I'm getting choked up on this.
Yeah, thing. Right. Yeah.
But that honestly, that shared experience with him, bonded us at a friendship level that, like, I don't, we go to his shop and I talk to him, we meet, we hang out. I don't post pictures of that on social media. Like I'm like, can we take a picture together? But this is my picture. This picture is for
Yeah,
me.
right.
And I'm sure you've done that too. And obviously there's some marketing elements that you need to do that. But all
Yeah.
that to say, building these genuine relationships, and even as a small business owner, detail shop, automotive shop, you can build these relationships that have an added benefit on the back end, financially, business wise. But if you look at the relationships first and the value that comes from being with people, that seems like that drives everything.
Yeah, I think it's building the relationship without expectations. Like if you go into a relationship expecting to get something out of it or wanting or asking for it, like it just doesn't it takes away the whole genuine aspect of it. So you go into these relationships wanting to build a genuine relationship with this person because you relate, you're enthusiast or whatever. And then if something comes out of it, then awesome. Then it's you got best of both worlds. And but at the end of the day, if you're going into that without any expectations and nothing ever happens from it, who cares? Now you have a really good friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't always. It's not always about business and money. Even when you're on, even when it is always in your head about business and money, like you got to make sure everyone's getting paid and all that stuff. It all just works out. But if you try to push things or force things, it's just not going to work. And yeah, and just genuine people like Farm Truck Nation, most genuine. I love those guys.
Oh
I
yeah.
absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And like the thing is, like they come out of their way all the time. We're at a trade show, and like I wasn't there, but they weren't even near us. And I was talking to Lewis, letting them know we're there or whatever. And so they all three of them came by, and like we had new sales guys there, and they're like, "Holy crap, they came over, they just talked to us, the most nicest guys ever." They're like they're doing funny pictures and stuff, and like the guys still talk about that all the time, and it's just like the impact that they can. I love it. Yeah, every time you bring those guys up, I love them. They're awesome.
Have you met Farm Truck's wife?
I have not.
So if you get an opportunity, my daughter and I got to go see a filming. We happened to be in Oklahoma City for one of the Street Outlaws this latest season filming out there, and we got to sit and talk to her for like 45 minutes, and she is amazing. She's such a cool lady, and her story and how they got to where they are and all that was really cool. So
they're just the OG car guys. They're just great people. So
yeah. And I mean, they're from Oklahoma. I grew up in Oklahoma. My parents live in Oklahoma City. So like, it's so I go down there quite often. I'm able to hang out and stuff, but all that to say, build these relationships, use those first. And what, to your point, like if you had just gone and, a friend of a friend of a friend gets you this, this meeting or dad's contact, it's not the same. You need that genuine, and that's where you need to be able to go to these car shows and go door to door and get out there and pound the pavement.
And just to leave the name out of it, so that when I joined on, like I had a goal of getting a chair in XX hands, right? And like, there's no way you just a direct path. And looking back, I got there just boom, 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 boom through connection, connection. Never, no asking, no, like I didn't think that this was going to give me this, but it just worked that way. And it started off with a local shop. Sort of a local shop, boom, boom. And I literally have goosebumps. That's really my goal when I first came on here. I was like, I want to get it there. It happened because of one of those local shops that I came by when no one wanted us, no one cared about us, they hated us, and they thought we were going to fail. And that's what took me to exactly where I wanted to go. So kind of put that all together. It's kind of neat to look back at that.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. And honestly, I think that's a great place to bring this thing to a close. Get out there, do what you need to do. Don't be afraid to talk to people. People may laugh at you, may tell you that your services are too expensive or whatever, but keep at it, have your goal, get that omnipresence, right? Like we'll 10x your life, brother. That's what.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So, hey, where do people find out more information, kind of follow you guys, and where do, more importantly, do they order a chair?
Yeah, so chairs and creepers and all that stuff. And we have new accessories just for detailers as well that you can add, like polisher holders and stuff like that. We also have a tool cart coming out. That'll be really exciting for you guys, detailers. That's all at Vyper Industrial, VyperIndustrial.com. If you want to try out the energy drink, super healthy, one of the healthiest energy drinks on the market right now, according to Yuka. You can do that at VyperEnergy.com. And if you're in the Green Bay area or surrounding areas, or you just want to fly out and meet us, hang out, and do some burnout pit stuff because we have a $1,000 burnout challenge between me, Dane, and Dylan to buy our own vehicles, and you should see mine. It's gonna get pretty crazy. VyperFest.com. Tickets are super cheap. Come out, have a good time. It's gonna be a good time. And then social media, Vyper Chair, Vyper Energy, simple ones.
Nice. All right, Alex, I appreciate your time, buddy. Head over to detailersroadmap.com and get your one-stop success solution today.